Anti-derivative Jill.
Greetings and felicitations.
Hello, I'm Anti-Derivative Jill, and this is Indefinite Munch in Infinite Combinations number 61. Today we're reviewing the next original series episode in production order, and it's The Changeling. And today we also have Scotty R37.
Creator, the unit Scott is a primitive structure.
And we also have Mikey here today. Thank you for being here.
Hi, guys. Thank you for having me.
You're welcome.
It's less than honored now, when you allow me to be part of the panel.
Yes, no problem. I hope things improve on your internet, but also, and now even though Pop Culture Curator is not here, he's actually here in the chat, and I want everyone to keep him in your positive thoughts or prayers because he's in the hospital dealing with some major issues, and it seems like he is getting the help he needs. Hopefully, things turn out all right.
Yeah, our prayers are up there for you, Pop.
Yeah, I'm wishing for the best for you, man. I'm pulling for you, and I can't wait for you to come back. I miss you.
Me too. But we do have a review today, and for reference to the production of these episodes, some facts I share come from the Star Trek 365 book by Paula M. Block and Terry J. Erdman. And today let's check out The Changeling. And so I've got some slides here that I'll bring up.
Huzzah. This is, you know what? I can wait for the opening of this movie or this show, this episode, because it drops a bomb on the entire episode. And I didn't realize until the very last scene of this episode. And it's like, wow, we are just going to gloss over the death of 4 billion people.
Well, it's not glossing over because they actually mention it. Even though it might be distasteful to make jokes about it, but they do mention all the 4 billion people several times.
They do, and we will encounter them one by one because it is interesting that we are preventing the deaths of billions. Like, they are saving lives.
They did. This episode first aired on September 29th, 1967. It was written by John Meredith Lucas and directed by Mark Daniels, a recurrent Star Trek director. I like that these directors keep coming back.
John Meredith Lucas.
When this came out, I was only 2 years old, guys.
Oh.
That's how old I am. I was only 2 years old when it premiered. It was just after my birthday.
Nice.
It's just a nice, yeah. It's just a nice, pleasant way of saying we're old, but I enjoy these.
Mikey, I got to say, it's very choppy. I do have to say, it's very choppy. The subspace communications, they crackle.
I'm sorry.
Oh, you don't have to apologize. It's not your fault. You're not doing it on purpose.
I'm doing best again.
Okay.
Yeah. How's that?
We do have reports of not a colony, but a Federation planet.
Yeah, 4 billion inhabitants of the Malrians system has been ruthlessly eliminated. Malarians. Okay, Malarians. Thank you. And so in the 365 book, the way that it describes the episode, it says 4 billion inhabitants of the Malarian system has been ruthlessly eliminated. As the crew of the Enterprise investigates the cause behind this Holocaust, they encounter a small, self-contained, computerized device that identifies itself as Nomad.
I am Nomad.
Once a Terran exploratory probe sent into space to seek out new forms of life, Nomad has been transformed into a hybrid device, the result of its union with an alien probe programmed to collect sterilized soil samples. Nomad now believes its mission is to sterilize, or rather eradicate, imperfect life forms like the imperfect inhabitants of the Malarian system and the crew of the Enterprise.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We get Eddie Paskey as Mr. Leslie, manning navigation, but he's wearing gold, which is strange.
What does he usually?
Well, he might have been a.
He's usually
Yeah.
security operations as opposed to.
So he should be red.
He should be a red shirt, yes. Or he was.
Yeah, he
And
should
I
be.
was.
But well,
Yeah.
yeah. I was going to say that to some degree, both Mr. Leslie and Mr. Kyle. Remember, he was also in a yellow shirt.
Well, and later on, I think we see Mr. Singh, who was in Space Seed, if I recall correctly, and he was in a red shirt, which fits with him being in an auxiliary control because he's still an engineer.
They must have been promoted to.
Well, this is where we learn that something going at several times warp speed has killed billions of people. So we have another killer machine on the loose in the galaxy this season.
Mm-hmm.
And so we find out here just how strong the shields are on the Enterprise. They just absorbed the energy equivalent to 90 photon torpedoes, and only 20% of their shields went down.
Which is really good.
That's amazing.
Also, this impact, just in terms of production, when you do watch them flail about the bridge, and I don't think I'm telling tales out of school, but they usually just shook the camera and then everyone was acting. And then they they went to one side and went to the other. Obviously, old news for Star Trek fans. But they really did a number on the helm. It was lifting and off of the ground when they were hit by this. Like, I think Eddie Paskey put a little too much muscle into it. Obviously, George Takei was there at, the actual helm. But in terms of it being, it looked a lot like a set this time in that particular instance of explosion. I don't know if it was rectified in the special edition, like in the remaster. I watched the classic episode without the remastered special effects. So,
and here you're going to see the remastered slides
for sure.
I watched the remastered.
Absolutely.
And
That's right.
Do we want to say hi to okay, who do you want to meet first? The Changeling? Do you want to meet Nomad, or do you want to meet the chat?
I guess, yes, the chat. Let's see. We have a lot of chat. You're right. Franco Walker was here first. Hello to Franco Walker. And Mikey Sues 4, who is here on the panel, experiencing some technical difficulties. Bantam Boomer is here, and also Canadian Spider-Man. He says, hello and welcome, everyone. Great to have you here with us. Thank you so much for supporting Anti-Derivative Jill by being here. Please hit the like button if you want to help grow this channel. Hey, 420 subscribers. That's a lucky number. Yes.
Dave's not here, man.
Spidey also says, consider subscribing to this channel to help Anti-Derivative Jill grow this channel. It's free and helps the YouTube algorithm promote this channel. It does. Thank you.
It does.
And also, Pop Culture Curator is here. I'm so glad to see you. I hope everything is going. I mean, I know things aren't going best, but I hope at least you're comfortable where you are. They gave pop culture anti-seizure meds. I hope those help. That not happen again. Getting X-rays, CT, MRI scans, and pop culture is going through all that. And Franco Walker is also on those same medications. Since 1992, they work well once you get the dose right. And oh my goodness, here's Sean Carter. Hello to Sean Carter.
Hello, Captain of the Enterprise C.
Hello, Sean. Hello, Sean.
Current captain. He is performing the refit.
Sweet.
Captain
And
Fandom Nerd.
and Lemon Pie.
Lemon.
Hello, Lemon
Great
Man
to see you.
Pie.
And hello also to Cardinal Sin. Great to see
Cardinal
you
Sin.
here.
Ahoy, sir.
Hello, Cardinalson.
Let's see.
Is the bot kicking?
Yeah, the Stream Element spot is running.
Bingo,
matter of
bingo.
fact. And
Yeah.
you know, I'm gonna have an episode I love when there's artificial intelligence involved, and I'm always appreciative of the Stream Element spot when it works, and it does today.
Yay.
Dalek451 says, "Hi, Jill.
Yay.
Got here just in time. I did a live stream this morning on my channel. First one in 2 weeks. Wow, that's great. That's good news. I'm so glad you're getting back up there.
Yeah.
Really?
Congratulations,
Was it
Dalek.
for-
Yeah.
Was it for Gary's mod?
Oh no, I don't know. I think it was just a discussion live stream.
Well, I do love the sound of his voice.
I do too. Grilla's Random Thought says this episode shows how tough a Scott is. Scott is the only red shirt to die, then come back to life."
Gorilla, I had a weird thought because I was thinking about Star Trek II, The Wrath of Khan and onward, and how everybody becomes a red shirt. Like everyone has a red uniform in the movies.
Mm-hmm.
So technically that does up the amount of red shirts that die. Is that everybody wears a red shirt? Actually, well, but when you think about it, so Captain Terrell dies. Anyway, we'll get it. We'll talk about the movie Red Shirt deaths on another occasion.
That's a good idea because there's some arguments about it if red shirts really are the ones who die the most.
True.
And hello in the chat to Joseph Dredd. Great to see you.
He is the law.
Hi, Joseph.
He is the law. Thank you, Judge.
And hello to Herc 130.
Hey.
Hey, Herc.
And Sub Commander Tall.
Hey, Tall, Sub Commander.
Yeah. And your fan club leader is here, Jill. Matt G.
Oh, the benefactor. Hey, Matt.
Hello, Matt G. And Grilla's Random Thought says, where were these machines during the Dominion War or the Borg Wars?
Which?
Right. Well, these kind of Tanru merged with Nomad. Well, got blown up for one.
Yeah.
That's what happens at the end of this episode. Spoiler
Second
alert.
episode in a row where we just say, beam it into space.
And the same thing with the Doomsday Machine.
They don't beam it into space.
Well, no. I mean, it gets destroyed.
Yes.
Dalek
Destruction, terror, and mayhem. Toss me a sucker, I'll slay him.
Dalek says, is that the shields being really effective or just plot armor for the ship? Yeah, that's why I mentioned it. It could be seen that way.
But I like it in terms of an amping of tension because they do this on The Next Generation all the time. They're like, oh, the shields are at 78%. And so this is, from my recollection in terms of space battles, saying like our screens are almost down. We can't take much more of this, but this is like that took our shields down 20%. And so it was kind of a cool addition. I like this as this is a great ship operations episode.
Well, it's funny though because the ship can take 90 photon torpedo energy, but they're surprised when the probe can absorb 1 photon torpedo.
But absorbed is the thing that they're curious about. It's not that it could withstand the blast of a torpedo, but it absorbed the energy.
I suppose so.
That was my interpretation. And Ari, hello, Ari.
Oh, and Joseph Dredd says this channel was recommended by Admiral Teague. Thank you so much, Admiral Teague, if you're out there. Appreciated.
You're a gentleman, Admiral.
Hey, Spidey, you missed my stream this morning, says Dalek. And hello to Matt G. No, it wasn't for Gary's mod, just a regular chill and chat stream. Hope to do the game next time.
Nice.
And the collars on the uniform in The Wrath of Khan were the specialities.
The departments, absolutely they were, yes.
Sub-Commander Tall says, why are the crew surprised when Nomad absorbs a single photon torpedo when the Enterprise can absorb 90?
But it's not an absorption. It's a withstanding, and it damages the shields by 20%. So it's not that they absorbed it, they withstood it, in my interpretation.
And he continues, which is why I don't like the collarless monster maroons from yesterday's Enterprise.
Yeah, that doesn't, and yes, everybody in yesterday's Enterprise who comes from the sea was a red shirt.
Mm-hmm. And so they're talking to this. They don't realize what it is yet, just know that it's speaking in binary and it's a mathematical, and that they're using the old form of communication in terms of old Starfleet protocols.
Interplanetary.
Interesting.
Well, but that's also like it was launched in We'll Discover.
In the early 2000s, right?
Right.
Is what it says, but Starfleet isn't made until later.
Much. But
Hello,
again,
hello.
this is hello. This is one of those hey Sporf. This is one of those situations where the establishment of anything is sort of amorphous. When was the Federation established? When was, like, we've established the eugenics wars ish.
Yes, that's right, with the Space Seed. That's correct.
Mm-hmm. So we're still sort of they're plugging in things now to build the world, but it's a very loose world so far.
It is, and I like the beginning where they consider that this could be a spaceship, even after learning the dimensions of it. What do they think that there are tiny little people on the ship?
And Spock has the perfect response when he says, intelligence does not require bulk, Mr. Scott.
Sure.
Yeah.
They could be really little people.
I think
Which
there
I
was a
think would've
Twilight
been
Zone. It would have been.
It would have been really cool for the Enterprise crew to deal with little people, like 1 inch high. Remember and this episode does draw a lot of comparison, and I think rightly so. I can't deny it, with Star Trek: The Motion Picture. And
Of course.
there is a moment where they talk about V'ger, and they say how big the structure is of V'ger, and it's like it could carry a crew of thousands, and then McCoy says, or a crew of 100, 100 miles tall. Like, it's a matter of how alien is this, and then it turns out to be a probe. Nomad does.
Yes, right. And also Spock does a mind meld on this device as he does in the motion picture.
Mhm.
But even though there are similarities, I think that I don't see it as a direct copy of that episode. But there are definitely things that
Who
are
did
similar.
you say wrote it? It was Meredith Lucas?
Yeah.
Right. So it's not a Roddenberry. And Roddenberry loves God things.
Right, John Meredith Lucas, correct.
Mm-hmm.
But the book
Right.
says about the motion picture. Right here. Says, in the same sense that Nomad became a changeling, this episode was destined to become a changeling as well. 11 years after NBC canceled Star Trek, Paramount Pictures released the film Star Trek: The Motion Picture. As noted by many Trekkers, significant similarities exist between this episode and the movie. and the Changeling, a damaged Terran exploratory probe programmed to find new life forms, unites with an alien space probe designed to sterilize soil samples. The hybrid probe thinks that it is supposed to eliminate all biological infestations, and following its earlier programming, seeks to return to the home of the creator. Kirk knows that he has to stop it because once Nomad gets to Earth, it will find a planet full of biological infestations and destroy them. In the film, a Terran space probe named Voyager has been damaged and subsequently repaired on a planet of living machines. The
Voyager
probe,
6.
which now calls itself V'ger, seeks to sterilize all carbon units and that it encounters, including those on the Enterprise and Earth, where it hopes to meet its creator. In each iteration, Spock learns the full background of the hybrid machine by performing a Vulcan to machine mind meld. Little wonder that some fans referred to the motion picture as Where Nomad Had Gone Before.
So, now that that's out of the way,
Yes.
Very well
I think that oh, sorry.
done.
I think that there's enough difference but enough similarity that I can still enjoy the episode. I can see how people
I do
would
too.
No,
I think the movie
oddly-
builds on this idea and expands the story beautifully.
You know, and I had a weird thing because later on when Spock does do the mind meld, spoilers for this episode, he says that the other who combines with Nomad is Tonru. And for some reason, I was like, Gumtu? And I was thinking that maybe it was like they never say that Tonru is a technological being.
Yeah, they
It
do.
only
They
they-
say it's a probe.
Oh,
It's an-
no, you're right. Spock does say that it's a probe. Okay, then forget my Gumtu. Forget the Gumtu.
Oh, you wanted Nomad to be merged with the biological being, just like V'ger is at the end of the movie.
Kind of the thing. Yeah, maybe I got run away with myself.
That would have been an interesting. That's what makes the motion picture different. It merges
Well,
with the.
what do you
folk
think? What do
created.
you think that Nomad merged with? Was it an early? Well, it was named Tonru, so
Well, it starts off. It starts off like.
Couldn't have been the
V'ger.
Borg.
No, not the Borg.
Couldn't
No.
have been V'ger.
It could be V'ger. No, I'm just kidding.
I was
V'ger
also
merged
Could
with
have
the
been
whole
the
planet.
founders. Yeah,
well,
could've
no,
been
it
the
has to be a probe.
founders.
It has to be a probe of some type. And I was trying to connect it in my noggin. And so I was thinking, what if it was the whale probe? What if the whale probe called itself Tonru?
You think it's Tonru? And then it wanted to talk to whales.
Well,
But-
no, but also it
No,
would have
but-
interest in Earth because Nomad is from Earth.
But did the well probe go around killing billions of people?
If left long enough in the 23rd century, yes, it would have destroyed
would have
the
destroyed
Earth
Earth.
looking for whales.
So yes, it was okay. So possibly
The whale
it's a
probe was
possibility.
looking for perfection, and perfection are whales.
And if I can't talk to a whale, this whole thing's got to go.
Yeah.
So Nomad killed 4 billion people. And so of course it
Even
committed
you're
genocide,
waving
seeking
your hands.
perfection. Even though it's I can't figure out what Tonru is
No, we can't.
right now.
No,
Unless we
there's
go
not
through
enough
all of the different probes ever to exist in the Star Trek universe, and
It's going to take a
correlate
long
them.
time. We shouldn't do that.
Did we want to? Oh, I'm sorry, Jill. Did we want to catch up on the
Even
chat?
even though it's
Okay.
only joining, even though it's only a joining of two entities, that idea does remind me of the Borg a little bit in terms of the search of perfection. And yes, you're right, Mikey. I do need to catch up. And Sean Carter says, "Oh yes, but in the movies they aren't red shirts but red jackets." And I think crew members had more of a white collar. No, they found a loophole.
Oh, Sean Cotter, you're absolutely correct. And it was mentioned before, but yeah, the departments are, white is command, red is operations, the green is sciences. I think Dr. McCoy had a green turtleneck.
And hello to SP4H. Great to see you. And Mark Harkness says, on the 90 photon torpedoes, it's spoilerish, but remember that the components of what they are facing are not weapons. It can discharge incredible amounts of energy, but not directed the way a photon does. Oh, okay. Thank you, Mark. That helps a lot.
True.
And I don't mind any spoilers. This is quite an old episode. We're okay. Ari, hello to Ari Babel.
And where Nomad has gone before.
Mm-hmm. That's the one. Although I enjoyed the extended version, says Franco Walker. And Admiral Teague says that's better. Stream Elements. Oh yeah, Stream Elements must have. Stream Elements did say to everyone to subscribe to Admiral Teague, and there you go. That's saving Star Trek. Sean Carter says, actually, Scotty, could you read this from Sean Carter?
A little known deleted line from the motion picture, Jim, for all its pure logic, V'ger is barren, cold, no answers. It's asking questions like, how could such an advanced race not know how to clean a feckin' sign?
Oh, right. It was extremely advanced, but it couldn't clean up its own label so that people could read it correctly. Or it could read it correctly.
Well, no, you know what?
But that was the reveal.
It calls itself. I'm sorry to jump to the motion picture while we're discussing the Changeling, but it had to have looked. It had to have looked at its own nameplate and been like, okay, I see a V, I see a G, I see an E and an R. So my name is V'ger. Or the other from the motion picture only saw that nameplate. Yeah, Sean, you got moxie, and I like your thought process.
Me too. That's pretty funny. This probe is a lot more like V'ger, says Admiral Teague. Tanru is the alien probe that Nomad joins with. Google Dyson Astro Chicken. Dyson's Astro Chicken. Why am I Googling Dyson Astro Chicken?
You'll find out after you Bing it.
Yes.
But I do like, and the reason that Nomad,
I don't know. I'll look it up later.
Nomad comes aboard because, oddly enough, after the first two salvos from Nomad, Kirk shoots a photon torpedo absorbed by Nomad. Then they communicate, and Kirk says that his name is Captain James Kirk. And that sort of sedates Nomad to be beamed aboard so that there's communication.
It functions irrationally.
Talking about McCoy, for sure.
Yeah.
Hey, Poopus.
Yes. Oh, Poopus is here.
And James Caserta.
Oh, Snowder Poopus. And Caserta.
Mark Harkness says Tanru was interested in soil samples, wasn't it? What would a whale probe want with soil samples?
It is only logical to understand that there is soil at the floor of the ocean.
And
who knows what secrets of nutrients and microscopic life.
There were things on the sides of the Wrath of Khan uniforms, says Joseph.
Oh, wait. No, not division. Like in terms of your speciality. This is, and I know we don't talk about the filth often, but this is one of the things that I really get.
Uniforms. Yeah.
This is what I get really upset with the Discovery uniforms in season 4 is that they only have their division colors on one side. So in the middle of an emergency, you wouldn't be able to assess unless you were looking from the left. And it's like, what a complete and total waste of using the color. It should be uniform around the uniform so that people can identify, are you in operations or are you in science? Are you in command? Who am I getting orders from? What am I supposed to do in the middle of getting hit by, a probe that has been appropriated by an alien entity and I'm being shot at? Who do I talk to? I would go to the first gold shirt, and then they would say, go talk to engineering and make sure we can effect repairs. You go to the red shirt, and they say, actually, you're really good at mathematics and communication, so maybe you should go and talk to a sciences officer. You would be more useful there. It's a camaraderie. It's a knowledge of everyone's specialties. Again, one of my
That
favorite
wasn't
things
really a
about
concern on that show, though. They didn't really care about anybody's specialities. They only
no,
had...
but I'm just extrapolating and saying
But
that's why
true.
that's why those uniforms suck, and that's why these
Mhm.
uniforms in Next Generation, and even when you get to Deep Space Nine with the grays and the collars, as everyone has pointed out, in terms of, okay, that's a red collar, that's a blue collar, that's a gold collar.
Now at this point, this is where Spock actually saves all their lives by telling Nomad
Yes.
that he is Jackson Roy Kirk.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, that's...
Nomad had
yes.
only heard part of Kirk, and this is where he saves all their lives by saying, yes,
Yeah, the
he was just
history
testing their
computer.
memory banks.
Yeah, thank
Yeah.
goodness Spock looked into the history computer
Bravo,
right
Spock.
away.
Bravo. Yeah.
Mhm.
Bravo. I know
Sometimes it's helpful to have an
Yeah,
emotionless
Trina.
individual around to confine your passions.
And Cardinal Sin says peacoat uniforms.
Still want
Oh,
one.
he must have been talking about the split pea color. He must have been it's about split
Oh
pea
no, it's a
color.
style of coat. If I ever get married, I want to get married in Rathacon uniforms, and that's why I will never get married. There's no lady who would dress like Savick at our wedding.
I hope that
Franco
doesn't happen to me, Frank.
If I suddenly disappear, then my PC is blown up. It is making funny noises and keeps buffering. And yeah, so Mikey's having some internet issues too. He's very crackly today. James Caserta says, here I am, Jill. Oh, thank goodness. Now the show can start. I'm so glad you're here, James Caserta. Hello to Snortopoopus Cuber. Twalk uniforms look like they raided Captain Crunch's wardrobe, says James Caserta. And Dyson's Astro Chicken is a theory from some guy who had a Dyson sphere theory. It's the idea of a self-replicating probe. It crash lands, repairs itself, and makes a replica, says Admiral Teague. But in this case, it was a probe that merged with an alien probe. Maybe the alien probe was self-replicating. We don't know very much about Tanru. So that's an interesting idea. I like it.
Excuse me for just one moment, please.
Sure, no problem. Dalek451 says, yeah, that makes no sense. A race capable of building a ship that big and can't wipe off just a little dirt off a metal plate. But maybe Beecher didn't really recognize the dirt as something that wasn't a part of itself. And it just saw itself and accepted everything that it saw as itself and didn't see dirt. Didn't recognize it as something that could be cleaned. Just guessing. James Caserta says hello to some people. And yeah, everybody's just saying hi. And Snortopoopus says, still mad because Kirk stole your ship to Sub Commander Tall. And James Caserta says, Idiocracy 2006. Funniest movie ever. Yeah, Idiocracy. That's a movie I need to do on Friday. I really love that one. But the only problem with that movie is it's become reality, so it's not as much fun. But it is still a good movie. Sub Commander Tall says Spock was actually watching the end of Where No Man Has Gone Before and saw his captain's name actually James Roy Kirk. And Franco Walker continues, it's not an internet connection. That is really strong. I think the CPO is overheating. Oops. And James Caserta says, Kirk seeded the galaxy. Hopefully galaxies was a quaint way to put it. Ooh. And yes, Spock's research abilities do save the moment here, in which Kirk is seen as the creator by this probe. This probe has been damaged, and its memory banks tell him that Kirk is Roy Kirk.
There he is. Mr. Singh.
And yeah, Mr. Singh is the babysitter for the Changeling for a little bit. But the Changeling gets distracted because of her singing a lovely song. And it's like, what the hell is this? But also, here we see director Mark Daniels portraying Jack Roy Kirk in the photograph. Wearing
nice.
Scott's, and he's wearing
That's nice.
Yeah, and he's wearing Scott's dress uniform.
Oh, you know what? The only other time that I've seen this, hang on a second. I have to full screen this. The only other time I've seen that uniform is later on when we see Colonel Green in the Savage Curtain. I think he wears the same thing. But we'll find out at the end of the third season.
Okay.
Yeah.
And so
is it actually a production note that he was wearing Scotty's dress uniform?
Yes.
Okay.
And so Roy Kirk's dream was to build the perfect thinking machine, so that desire for perfection is what got corrupted when he merged and was damaged and repaired.
I love this. The justification of this. Jackson Roy Kirk, Captain James Kirk.
Of course.
Of course.
Of course. But McCoy says, well, that's not the same.
They do make a point of making it that the communications initially were garbled.
Yes, well, it's been damaged, and I imagine this part of it's been damaged here. The computer data banks recall and transmission. And so I love that this picture here shows us all the parts of the probe.
Is that a Matt Jeffries production piece of work?
Well, I love it, so probably yes.
Okay, makes sense.
I bet so. He's the art director, and he does everything that it has to do with making the ships look realistic and all of that. So the Sparrow graphic analysis, I guess that's what tells you
the Sparrows.
Mission.
That's how you discover dragons.
Well, no, I think it's like a spectrograph, maybe. I'm guessing. I have no idea.
I'm being facetious.
Acquisition sensor, tracking screen. It's got a selective amplifier screen, data assimilation, digital encoder. Ah, that's fun. So this is where it recall. This is the memory, and this is where it takes the memory and it figures out what it is, and it analyzes it. Selective amplifier screen. Magneto hydrodynamic veneer pulse. That I don't know what that does. Then there's a primary power system and an emulsifier. Hey. And I don't know. Mikey's been having a lot of internet issues, and I think maybe we need to
what? Sterilize? Perfection?
I don't know. Yeah.
Well, and again, it's always a pleasure to speak to you, Mikey. It's just if the subspace communications are less than stellar, it's a matter of whether or not it'll be enjoyable, not just for the show, but also for the audience. And
right, exactly. Should we try one more time, or
let's try one more time?
Okay, one more try, and then we'll see you in the chat. And so Admiral Teague says, I see the carbon scoring on Beeger as a testimony to the high quality of Kirk's khaki Starfleet jacket, actually. And I think your computer is reacting to the show of logic by James Tiberius Kirk to Franco Walker. And he says, I wanted to watch that film again, but I can't find it anywhere, to James Caserta.
Oh, what?
I don't know.
All right.
Gene Roddenberry had a good friend named Singh that he lost contact with, so he named everybody Singh in the hopes that he would call him, says James Caserta. Oh,
True.
wow. I
That
didn't know
was
that.
Khan Noonien Singh was a result of that, and also Lieutenant Singh.
Right. Okay, that's really neat. And I'm sorry he never got into contact with his friend. Admiral Teague says Colonel Green had a red jumpsuit with a wallet chain on its Nauru collar.
It was like gold piping, but I know what you mean. And yes, maybe I'm just mixing them up. It's been a while since I've seen the Savage Curtain. You could be correct.
Could you read this?
Mark Harkness says, we were lucky that it was Voyager 6 and not Pioneer 12, PIO. McCoy needs pie hole. Kirk interrupts. Yes. Thank you, Doctor.
And James Caserta says VJNS. What? Okay.
VJ of Nassau.
Snortapoopa says that uniform Colonel Green is wearing isn't the same, FYI. And Admiral Teague says, time to celebrate Jill's sub count. It's 420 somewhere. Wait, really? It has to be, well, we'll be in 6 minutes, 420 somewhere.
Yeah.
James Caserta says TMP proves that we won't know what a woman is in the 23rd century either. The motion picture. What? Oh, because V'ger creates a probe that looks like Ilea.
Yes.
Ilea. 7:30. Crazy. We're lucky Nomad wasn't trying to emulsify planets. Emulsify. Inseminator. Yeah, I just really love this screen. I need to get off of it. This episode is upsetting, says Admiral Teague, because I went to Jackson Roykirk Memorial High School. Our football team were the Nomads. You're kidding me.
Yes. He is.
Okay, he better be kidding.
Jackson Roykirk is not a real person, Jill, and so there is no high school named after him. Yeah, thusly, the football team.
But if I were to start a high school, I would name it Jackson Roykirk.
You would be committed. This chick is seeking perfection.
No, you're allowed to be crazy in Texas. Grilla's Random Thought says, I won't be able to chat much this afternoon, so I'll put this in now. Don't blame the F on me.
I didn't even when I voted I didn't see
did somebody make an F? Oh, somebody did give it a D to an F. Oh my goodness.
All right.
Mikey Sues 4 says, hello everyone in the chat. I'm extremely sorry if I caused any problems. No problems at all were caused. I was really hoping for your internet to do better because you're really knowledgeable and intelligent, really fun Star Trek fan. Yeah. So I hope things get better for you on your internet side.
Dude, things were working so well before we went live. It's a technical issue and I've had it before. Mm-hmm. So it's not you.
Yeah.
It's the machines. Just like this episode.
I know. I need to be repaired. James Caserta said, what?
If he had sex with the robot, snort.
Why? Oh, that would be of Kirk's mind. If Kirk's mind was transferred to an alien space probe, to James Caserta.
I just, I push back. I push back against the whole Kirk being a horn dog. I think that Kirk is appropriately amorous to the ladies and charming. I'm a big James Bond fan, so I'm okay with him taking pleasure in his job. I like that Captain Kirk has fun. But I don't think that he was a F anything that moves, no matter the planet. Even when we were on the pleasure planet of Argelius last week, he didn't get down and busy.
But he did talk to McCoy about going somewhere where they could.
He wanted to, right? Because he was actually following. Come on, let's conduct ourselves like Starfleet officers.
Exactly. He's always going to protect his crew first, and he never goes after the crew members either, so he's always very professional.
Do you think he's a horn dog?
There are some instances where he barely knows somebody and he gets really cozy up to them, but I don't know. I think it's just he's a lonely guy and he wants to make friends.
In the bikini area? All right.
Well, there is an episode where they show him, and you're really sure that he's had sex.
Yeah, blink of an eye.
There you go.
He's putting on his boots, which is very risque at the time, but we'll get there.
Yeah. So I don't know. I think he's fine.
All right.
I have no problem. Admiral Teague says this episode is upsetting. Oh yeah, I read that.
Mm-hmm. The Nomads.
Nomads. I want to go to a football game with somebody dressed up as Changeling. And hey, the Basco scenarios here. Hope you're well.
Hey, Basco.
And the truth is, I went to William T. Sherman High School, and our teams were named the Barn Burners, says Admiral Teague.
I do not understand that reference.
I don't either. I prefer Roy Kirk High School. Gorilla's Random Thought says, Mikey, you really have to pop your Virginia Modems cherry. And Admiral Teague says, Kirk has sex with a robot on shore leave.
Ruth. Do they do the sex?
I don't know. They kiss.
They
it's
smell.
Possible.
Mm-hmm.
They make out. That's pretty much sex in the 60s, isn't it?
No, I know, but usually when you have a makeout scene, it infers bikini area fun times.
Or at least the potential for it.
Mm-hmm.
The F vote was from Jackson Roy Kirk.
Mm-hmm.
Ari Bavell says, I apologize for my low grade in the poll. I always get Charlie X and the Changeling mixed up. Not the episodes, but the titles. Actually, there are some similarities, I suppose, in this case, if you think of the Changeling as a child, as they try to allude to later in the episode. And Mikey says, Brother Gorilla, Wi-Fi's can't mesh with the internet. And Franco says, sorry about the F. It was an accident. The cat rubbed against my hand as I was going for the B+. Oh my goodness, everybody's claiming the F. I've got an older model computer. A lonely guy. He has his own personal yeoman. Well, he did, but she's gone. Where is she? She left. Ari says, Kirk, a horn dog. His picture is in the dictionary. And even with the yeoman, he could never be with the yeoman because she was in part of the crew.
Subordinate, yeah.
Yeah. Snortapoopa says, our 5-year mission to boldly impregnate new life or something.
Mm-hmm.
Mikey says, pretty kitty. I'm sure. And eventually Kirk does. Eventually Kirk does have a son. There's a scientist that he meets at some point.
A little lab technician, little blonde lab technician that Gary Mitchell introduced him to.
Mm-hmm. James Caserta says his libido led the way
to boldly go. But again, I don't see him as the Lothario that other people think of. I think of him. Mm-hmm. I think of Jim Kirk as being restrained when it comes to his fraternization, if you will. So
far, I agree.
Right.
Here in Texas, it seems every team is the Wildcats. Or the Bulldogs, or I don't know. Franco Walker says, I was invited into a live stream once, and my PC completely crashed. Sherman's march to the sea, where the term scorched earth started, where they pilgrimaged and burned every house and field, leaving nothing of value, says Gorilla's Random Thoughts. And wait, what news? I was invited onto a live stream once and my PC completely crashes, Franco Walker.
Mm.
Wait, what are you saying about Gorilla's comment?
I was just sort of saying I was agreeing with it and hoping Sherman's march would continue. Oh, Kirk already has a son. David's middle school by now. True story, actually. Now that you mention it. How old is David Marcus in Wrath of Khan? He's like what, 25?
Yeah, he's older, and so definitely he's already alive at this point.
Yeah.
Kirk
David
just doesn't
Marcus
know
is like
about him.
10.
So he's already spread his seed.
A space seed.
Mark Harkness says Kirk is no skirt chaser. Remember how many of the women he deals with are dangerous, so he tries to use charm to get them off balance. Yeah, like in Cat Spa. Oh wait, that wasn't even exactly a woman, but anyway. Now the slave girl on Roman planet, Last Night Alive? Sure.
We haven't got to Bread and Circuses yet, so I'm sort of judging his character based on the episodes that we've seen here on Infinite Lunches.
Mm-hmm. Ah, kitties, pet the kitties.
Cats are jerks.
Mm-hmm. Oh
Billy
yeah, they are.
Sherman.
I love my cat, but I know that if my cat were large enough, it would eat me.
Well, I think that's a bum rap. Your cat loves you. It would only eat you until you stopped feeding it.
That's true.
Or when you stopped feeding it, my mistake.
We got wildcats all the way up here in Kansas and Missouri, says Cardinalson. And make sure to subscribe to Pop Culture Curator. He's only one away from 250, so let's get him to 250.
Bingo.
Admiral Teague says, yes, that's correct. My high school was named for the man who invented the concept of total war.
Jackson Roykirk?
Franco Walker says to Mikey, I just had to unplug it from the mains and do a reboot. It's back up to its old crappy self again.
Yeah, but you lost your first officer. It was tragic. Don't worry, they'll make a sequel.
Snortapoopus says, they rejected my screenplay for the movie Star Trek 23, The Wrath of Kirk's Bastards.
Ooh. And I want my scalps.
There's nothing wrong with Kirk saying yes.
As long as it's consensual, for sure.
No wildcats here, only cougars. My twin, too, is a Winchester wildcat, though.
Hot damn.
With Kirk, 50 no's?
50 no's equals a yes? No, he doesn't. I don't know. I don't know.
No, I don't think so. I don't think that. I definitely don't think that about Kirk.
Like when I think of Jim Kirk's regard for women, it is higher than James Bond's. Kirk is a more moral individual than
right. He
James
is Starfleet
Bond.
officer, as you say.
Exactly.
Sylvia from Cat Spa is on my top 5 TOS chicks list for as far as desirability.
Oh, Kalinda from By Any Other Name, though.
But Sylvia can transform into any form.
Yeah, it seems weird.
It is kind of weird. Gorilla says, I was a skirt chaser once I went to Scotland, and boy, was I surprised. Well, those aren't skirts. Those are kilts.
Mm-hmm.
And so Uhura... Oh, right. Okay, so this is an important part.
Uhura's been singing.
Yeah, Uhura has been singing. And this is the only problem I had with this episode, when Uhura's mind gets zapped.
Okay.
And so, yeah, she gets... And just a minute ago, Scott was killed. So that was also a thing that just...
No, it's right after this. It's right after this. Boom, zap in the chest. And also, same sort of stunt work. We talked about Scotty's stunt work in Who Mourns for Adonais, and how he gets flung over. And this seems to be almost the same sort of stunt in when he gets thrown over the railing on the bridge. And it's very dynamic. I was impressed with the stunt.
Yeah, he did seem to go flying, and it looked painful.
Well, he's dead.
He is.
He is the first member of the regular Enterprise crew to die.
He is. And he's dead.
Yeah.
Killing Scotty and bringing him back is one thing. But I don't know. It's crazy how easy it is for Nomad to say he's drained Uhura's mind and how she's able to bring it all back at the end. It's just my biggest issue in terms of...
Well, we'll get there when we talk about Bluey.
Okay, fine. But also this.
Yeah.
To
right.
destroy that which is not perfect. A mass of conflicting impulses.
Also that.
And then Spock says, she's a woman.
Right. So that's 2 episodes in the row. What's the deal with all these writers inserting random sexism? That I've been really extremely impressed with Star Trek avoiding such things until these last 2 episodes in that regard.
I do understand where you're coming from, but if I may propose that in Starfleet, in the Federation, chivalry is not dead, and so while it can be perceived as looking after the weaker sex, to use the parlance of their time, it is actually, a protective desire. Just this, women are different than men.
That's true. Women are different than men.
Say?
No, it's not. That's absolutely true. Women are different than men, and the probe does also call. I would say that McCoy is just as emotional as Uhura, and the probe only calls him irrational.
So.
Yeah, and he's only irrational. She's a massive conflicting impulses. Massive conflicting impulses.
But also,
a little more dramatic.
In terms of Nomad's analysis, he has no concept of, or it has no concept of emotion.
That's true. It is unaware of it. And
the
possibly,
conflicting emotions could just be like they say at the beginning of this episode, that is it's I'm gonna have to call it it, even though it is voiced by a dude. It's unaware. It couldn't even fathom. Like,
right.
You can't reason with it.
Nomad's not capable of sexism. I think possibly here it has nothing to do with that, and it's just the fact of Uhura singing is an artistic pursuit, and when you're doing something artistic, your brain is functioning differently, and you're being read in such a way that confuses Nomad.
Agreed. Couldn't have said it better myself. Thank you, Jill.
So I just fixed it myself.
You did. Thank you.
Hooray.
That unit is a woman. Oh, that's too easy a joke. Can I say an R-rated joke?
Sure.
Okay.
Go for
but
it.
Today they would say, that woman has a unit. Anyway, moving on.
Oh, that wasn't that bad.
No, I know. It's sort of a Wayne's World joke, but I don't know how sensitive people are.
All right. And so, of course, McCoy is going to give Nomad everything it needs to repair all the important tapes it needs on anatomy, the central nervous system, the physiological structure, and Scotty's hyperencephalogram.
Right. Where did they get that?
He just has it.
I would say it's a transporter pattern.
He has it in the medical records.
Right, which I think he sort of got from, like, are you saying that, and it's not inconceivable that McCoy did an encephalogram analysis of Scotty's brain. Seems like a thing you would do.
Yeah, definitely.
Especially recently, considering he was taken over by Red Jack.
Exactly. That makes a lot of sense that they'd have to do some brain scans.
Yeah. Scotty's getting a bum rap over the past 2 episodes.
Well, either it's going to be Scotty or it's going to be Sulu. Somebody's got to suffer.
Next week, it's going to be Chekhov. Actually, I think it's Spock next week, but we're getting ahead of ourselves.
Oh, and here's that.
Creator, the unit Scott is a primitive structure.
True story. I am. Oh, Scotty. Yes, he is as well. He is inferior because he is biological.
And Sub-Commander Tall says Kirk is clearly a romantic lead, but he's not a thoughtless skirt chaser. Both things can be true.
I agree, Sub-Commander.
Well said. Very eloquent. Startup Poopus Cuber says, question for the Nerd Collective. Was Carol Marcus the little blonde lab technician that Gary Mitchell painted at Kirk to distract
Pointed.
him?
Yes. I think so.
Painted.
Poopus, I think so. It may not be confirmed by canon, but hey,
Bird of Prey 5 is here. Kapla.
Kapla. Oh, check out Bird of Prey. He's still doing Twilight Zone on Sundays, and he got into the Forrest Whitaker years. I was so impressed. I got to watch that. Thank you.
Oh, wow.
Anyway, Scotty wakes up. Everything's fine. Death is cured. As long as you have a spare nomad to help you with the dead.
He's okay.
He's fine. He's fine.
Totally fine.
Yeah.
Don't worry.
Do you feel like this is like there is a thing where eliminating death from the universe? We saw this in Star Trek Into Darkness, where it's like, okay, well, no one can ever die again. But and I know, I'm just saying it's referential. And so, like, before Spock dies, Scotty dies. And I'm just saying, like, the one get out of jail free card that you have in this galaxy, in this episode is, okay, if Nomad kills a guy, then Nomad can resuscitate a guy. And it's like, it is barely, like, it doesn't even take, they kill him before the commercial break.
Mm-hmm.
And then
he's back.
And then he's back.
Immediately.
Well,
and
within
it's
like
to
4
illustrate.
minutes.
It's to illustrate how easy it is to repair a simple matter of some system in your body going down versus your brain, which is way more complicated.
Well, and also Scotty was just electrocuted. It's not like he was absorbing incredible amounts of radiation. So I buy this more than I buy the Into Darkness.
Well, yeah, me too, because it's a lot more of a simple death. It wasn't extreme radiation.
Right.
Or wasn't something that took over his entire system.
Mm-hmm.
And Uhura's brain, according to Nomad, but you know what? Nomad's been damaged. Nomad doesn't know what it's talking about. I don't even think that Uhura's brain cannot have been totally wiped, because if Uhura's brain was wiped and she has to build up from nothing, then how does she still remember how to speak Swahili? And some of her has to have remained. So Nomad has to be wrong here.
I was thinking about this as well in terms of Uhura's sort of re-education. She does have adult synapses fully developed.
Yes.
They don't say that she's been damaged in any way. It's just a matter of reintegrating the knowledge that she previously had. And so with the development of the brain of an average human female, and Uhura is above average in terms of her linguistic capabilities, I think that she would totally
mathematical
have a quick recovery.
Capabilities.
They do. That was a weird thing.
That's not weird. She's mathematical. The whole linguistic thing comes from nowhere. It comes from the filth, and so it's not right. They have a computer for the translations, and her specialty is in communications, and she knows how to repair her station.
But we recently talked about Star Trek 6, and you said that, or I think that we sort of discussed the moment where she wasn't necessarily a linguistic expert. She had to refer to books.
She had to refer to books, which made no sense. The book should have been in the computer, just like earlier where they had the history computer, where Spock figured out Roy Kirk was the creator from the history computer. They should have had a dictionary computer in Star Trek 6.
Well, the universal translator as well.
And so there's a note when Nichelle Nichols goes to convention. She talks about how she fought for Nichelle Nichols to speak Swahili,
Which was a nice addition. I really enjoy that. And again, the only thing that I found missing between the conversation, we do get Majel Barrett as Christine Chappell again. First time we've seen her since Amok Time. But I do enjoy their interaction. I just wish, and this is sort of retroactive, and they never could have done it at the time because they hadn't established Uhura's first name. I wish that Chappell had called Uhura Nyota. But that wasn't established until Star Trek Judgment Rights, I think, the Interplay video game, and in novels.
Right, yes, but they had agreed to it. The creators of Star Trek,
the creator,
they agreed to it. It just didn't become canon until later.
Meanwhile, I would like to, because we have Nomad on screen, I do want to sort of give big ups to the production design of making Nomad move around, rest on tables, the cinematography of it when it was hung, obviously by a wire, but it was, and again, I watched the original special effects, and it wasn't apparent. It wasn't as apparent as you remember. It's not cheesy, but I like the way that Nomad moves around the ship.
Yes,
it's a good special effect. It's a good trickery of camera, in my opinion.
Yes, and there's a bit about it in the book too about this.
Nice.
It says, when Nomad comes. Wait a minute. Where am I?
Okay, don't ever finish a sentence with "when Nomad comes."
When Nomad comes aboard, it tells Kirk that it has the capability.
Sorry, that was rude.
It has the capability of movement within the ship, but the probe may have been a bit overconfident. Observant viewers have noted that as Nomad moves through engineering, late in the fourth act of The Changeling, it seems to swing back and forth a bit, unsteadily. Was Nomad hitting the Saurian brandy that day? Nope. It was simply experiencing a little glitch that the editors neglected to nip from the final print. Nomad's mobility came courtesy of special effects man, or perhaps more properly a puppeteer, who controlled the probe's forward motion as it dangled on a wire, and he walked on the overhead soundstage rafters. Of course, the puppeteer had to stop from time to time, allowing the probe to hit its mark, and pause as it followed Scotty's course around the room. The man in the rafters simply didn't have enough leverage to halt the dangling object's forward momentum in that scene. And so that is the life of the puppeteer.
And it is
controlled Nomad.
Yeah. But and I want to just draw attention to the camera. There are some interesting sort of behind Nomad shots where he's in or it is in frame and following Dr. McCoy. Sometimes it's puppeteered from the base, and sometimes it's hung from a line. And I like to defend the special effects of Star Trek, and this looks good. This looks good. It holds up.
I think so too. I think it looks great.
All right.
I totally bought it.
So back in sickbay.
Admiral Teague says it's an American thing, Scotty. We Yankees have a streak of barbarism in us. We don't like it, but there it is nonetheless. We burn barns. We do?
Well, I'm sure there's been a barn burner or two. Yeah.
The boy band was originally known as the Jackson Six, but Michael and
Jermaine.
Jermaine et al. Realized that Whittle Roykirk wasn't much of a singer and kicked him out.
Yes.
And Cardinal Sin says to Canadian Spider-Man, the junior high school I went to, our mascots were cougars. Oh,
Yes.
okay. So here's Zahura learning how to read again.
Yes.
Or are being reminded how to read.
Well, and also I want to point out that she did actually have a really good absorption of verbal language before being able to explain how to read. They do establish that she can sort of talk to Christine. She says, "Thank you, Christine." And so this is why I bring up just the adult synapses. They are open. They're already established. They're ready to go. And
Right.
so I know people do sort of look down upon the re-education of Uhura, and I understand it. It's not a hill that I'm gonna die on, but she's a brilliant woman, and I think that her absorption of information would have been double plus quick.
Just a week. That's all you need.
That's all she needs.
Yeah, she didn't have to go back to Starfleet Academy or anything.
Okay, you got a point there. Do you think she needs to take... Well, you know what? Let's find out if she's on next week's episode.
She is.
Is
right?
she?
Is she?
She's
I
right
don't know.
back? I don't know. I haven't seen it. Yet.
Okay.
Let's wait and see if she's back on the... If she's back at her...
Okay, somebody tell me, is she in the apple?
We need to know, chat. Because if she's back in the apple, then she's super brilliant. Nyota Uhura, super genius.
She is a super... Well, I don't deny that. She is a super genius. She could do anything that she wants.
Exactly. So if her mind is wiped, I'm fine with a couple of weeks.
So, speaking of mind, Spock is going to mind meld with the machine. How a telepathic Vulcan can mind meld with the computer, I'm not quite sure. I guess maybe since it's an alien computer, there's something about it. But I don't know.
It is a mind probe, as Spock says. No, you're right. Do you think that the Vulcan mind meld should be restricted to organic?
I don't know, because it happens in V'ger too. I mean, in the motion picture as well, and I like it there too. I just don't know how. How does this work?
I don't know. I can't help. I believe it. I believe it.
Paw Veter Gamer says mind meld electrical impulses. Okay. So yes, our brains work with electrical impulses too, and so that's all that's being transferred between Spock and the computer.
Well, and Spock is he is a computer expert. He could be
Cardinal
touching
Sin,
the circuits.
Yeah, that's true. Cardinal Sin says organics only.
But I accept that answer as well. Like it's it's a strange sitch.
And Franco Walker agrees with that too. But I love the interactions with artificial intelligence, so I let it go because I like the idea of being able to communicate with machines.
I think it's also just in terms of the drama of the situation, because we are watching a television show. I do like this interaction, and they do say earlier that Nomad is a being of some sort.
Right.
So,
that they do say that. They do say that he pretty much is. Well, what did they say? It's almost his own life form. Yeah, it almost qualifies as a life form. That's where Spock says, Doctor, I interrupted you because Nomad would have not understood your anchor. It has great technical skill, but its reaction to emotion is unpredictable. It almost qualifies as a life form. So it's possible that if Spock hadn't interrupted, the Nomad would have wiped McCoy too. That would have been weird.
Well, and it would have been interesting, but again, we're sort of looking at this through hindsight being 2020. It would have been a kind of a cool uh reference, and I mean that in the bitchin sense, is if Spock had said his mindset is almost Vulcan. It would have been interesting.
Hmm. But we have the reverse of that when Nomad says this.
This unit is different. It is well ordered.
I like how chuffed Spock is by Nomad's assessment of him, and it's like, yeah, thanks.
Mhm. Yeah. I almost expected him to say thank you.
Yes. Well, but we do get a little taste of that later on.
True.
Um,
And
but
so
Spock
we
is
get
broken
the
of the
exposition
frenzy. Yes.
that it
And
was.
great performance by Leonard. I think
It
I
was.
can call him Leonard.
It definitely felt like he was stuck to the machine and couldn't get away from his connection with it.
But he was also like, when he finds out all the things, he's sort of scattered. He's received so much information, which is something that has been described throughout the episode. It's like, please, like there is a part where it's like, you can check out our computer, but please don't take the information any faster than the computer will. And this is, they've mind melded, and take what you will of that. If you agree with it, I understand. If you disagree with it, I also understand. But then Nomad starts taking the information from Spock faster than Spock can do it. And that's why he gets all sort of shaken.
Overloaded.
Yeah.
But he does learn the mystery behind what damaged Nomad, and it was a meteor collision.
Damage.
And Nomad's memory was destroyed. And so it didn't remember what its true purpose was until the alien probe merged with it. And combining the fragments of what it remembered before with the alien probe told it needs to secure and sterilize. Well, at first it only was supposed to sterilize the soil, but now it's sterilizing imperfect life forms. And
this is the ham-fisted saying of the title of the episode, and I don't really like this.
I know, it's kind of weird. A changeling was a fairy child that was left in place of a human baby. The changeling assumed the identity of the human child.
Yeah.
So I guess that's kind of like a mockingbird, where mockingbirds will put their eggs in a nest of another bird and make that bird raise their baby.
If I've learned anything from Spectre, cuckoo.
Yes. I could be mixing up my birds. Maybe they both do it.
They probably do. Birds are jerks.
They are.
They're dinosaurs, you know. And then Kirk is he's basically given it up to space madness. Nomad is gone space crazy.
Yeah, I think so. And it's mother. And so red shirts, lots of red shirts die in this episode, like 6.
Yep. Pretty much, you know what? Pretty much the same special effects too.
Right. Oh, that didn't change much. That's good.
There was like a little bit more pew pew on where things, like where the phaser beams or Nomad's rays hit. But yeah, pretty much the same.
Nice.
Oh, and we also, just in terms of production, again, pop culture curator, get well. I want more production.
Me too.
We do get auxiliary control with Mr. Singh. That was earlier in the episode, and now we do have the new engineering set with the pods in the midst. No room to have fist fights with Finney or Khan, because we've got the I think what turns out to be the dilithium cradle.
Yeah, a lot more things to trip over now.
Right. That's why Nomad flies.
Right.
They fly now?
They fly now.
Right.
And they also make a ship go faster.
Too fast.
Inefficiency exists in the antimatter input valve.
Yeah.
And the energy release controls are also inefficient.
Mm-hmm.
And so it goes all the way to warp 10. Impossible. It can't go that fast. Warp 11. And so Kirk puts a stop to it because the ship cannot handle that much speed. Although, I don't know if I would have rolled it back all the way. I would have said, can you make it to where it matches my how much my ship can handle? And then maybe instead of increasing it by 57%, you just increase it by 12%. And so you get some benefit from it.
At this point, it's too much of a danger. Just stop what you're doing. I wouldn't
I guess
be
I'm
like,
just greedy.
well, it's a weird thing, and Spock does say it at the end of the episode. He's like, the loss of Nomad is such a waste in terms of all
Of
of
that.
the scientific advancements that we could have garnered from Nomad's knowledge. And so I understand where you're coming from, but at what price? We've already got 4 billion dead.
That's true. But in this moment, we could have had 12% engine efficiency increase. And then we can get rid of Nomad.
How utilitarian and barbaric of you that you're going. This is an intelligence of unbeknownst knowledge. I don't even know if that was a proper usage of the word unbeknownst, but
no, it was correct.
Okay. Like,
as far as I knew,
there is a thing like this guy, this thing. I don't like when Scotty says you're going to bring it on board and it's like it'll stop taking pot shots at us. And my first thought was, yeah, now it can take pot shots at us from the inside.
That's true, but maybe from the inside, maybe it thought that if it wouldn't want to destroy itself because once it's inside the ship,
it is an
attempt. They didn't realize that it was a machine at first. They thought it could be
a ship,
a ship with biological creatures inside.
Itty bitty little inch tall guys and girls.
Could have been
a bunch of Smurfs.
But instead, it's something that wants to kill biological life forms. And is so offended to find out that Kirk is a biological life form. He made the mistake of admitting to it. And now Nomad has to reevaluate, and he also has to kill a couple more red shirts.
Yes, 2 more.
And in Nomad's eyes, you must now undoubtedly appear. You must now appear imperfect. It was a foolish mistake. Even worse, Nomad just now made a reference to its launch point, Earth. And so if Nomad gets to Earth, it's going to destroy the imperfect life forms infesting the planet.
Sterilize. Meanwhile,
so you want to read this captain's log just from the pictures?
I'd love to. Is it just in the pictures? Okay.
Yeah, it's just in the pictures.
Captain's log, stardate 3541.9. The presence of Nomad aboard my ship has become nightmarish. Now it apparently means to return to Earth. Once there, it would automatically destroy all life. Hey, Nomad, stop! Wait, hang on. End log.
No, we're just going to kill some more red shirts. It's a game here.
This is ridiculous, though, because, like, are these security officers not briefed at the fact that it has shields?
Yeah. No, like, after the first 2 died, the rest of the security team should have gotten the memo. Don't attack this thing. It's just going to kill you.
It absorbed the power of a photon torpedo. Yeah, your hand phaser should do a good job. Good work, Greg. Weird. Spock is the only one who's like, guys, seriously, don't antagonize this thing. It's going to kill you. Meanwhile, Scotty's back on the bridge. He's dead for what, like a minute? And he's
Right, no,
back
he's
at
fine
work.
now.
He's fine
He's-
now.
He barely an inconvenience to die and come back to life.
Well, he didn't. Well, Nomad's good. You know,
He can fetch the anti-gravs at the very
Nomad's a
least.
doctor.
And Kirk is so proud.
Mm-hmm. Eventually.
And so this is my favorite part, of course. My favorite part is always when Kirk is going to talk down the machine and defeat it. And this is the best yet. Kirk's done this 3 times, and the first time it was where what little girls are made of, and he convinced Roger Corby that he had become the very thing that he was trying to avoid, trying to eliminate. And he became the murderer that he was that he was accusing humans to be.
I still feel bad for Andrea.
True. Well, yeah, because Roger Corby makes the decision to end both of them, and so that's sad. And then the second time, he kind of yells at Landru, and Landru dies. And this time, he uses logic to defeat the Changeling.
Logical paradox, yeah.
Mm. But a biological unit created you. You are a biological unit. You are imperfect. But I am your creator.
Oh, can you get this? Can you get this conversation? And
Can
then
I?
you be Nomad, and then I'll be Kirk.
Yeah, I could. I think I have it here.
Okay, that'd be great. I want to do this. This will be fun. Or do you want to be Kirk and I'll be Nomad? It's up to you.
I don't know. I could be Nomad.
Okay, you be
I think
Nomad.
I think I always relate more with the robots than with the humans.
Yeah, but you're such a you're a lovely individual.
Thank you.
You're not an it. You're a her.
I am. So how far up should I go? Let's see.
Oh, just the I don't know, wherever you want. This is sort of an audible.
Right,
so
it
you
is.
can do whatever you want. Sorry, guys, we're just sort of improvising as to what we're going to talk about on this particular episode. But this is up there with and as Jill said, this is a computer with a human conversation that is one of the good ones from the original series of Star Trek. I would put this up with Landru, and I would put this up with Richard Daystrom with M5. Like, those are my top 3 humans talking to computers, and you will destroy yourself based on the logic that I programmed you with. Not that James Kirk programmed. Hang on a second. Here we go.
He was supposed to. I mean, he's claiming he is, and he's allowing Nomad to believe he is the creator this entire episode.
True. He's a liar.
It's on fire.
Well, bluffing.
Yes.
Yeah.
In order to ensure the safety of the ship.
Right. Do you want to go straight up to error, examine, or do you have more? Okay, wow. You want me to yell more? Okay.
Oh, do we want to stop it here?
Well, let me know. No, you should have the last word. There we go. Nomad should have the last word.
Wait, we're almost there anyway. Hold on.
Okay, keep going. Welcome to the Famous Players Playhouse, where Jill and I are going to reenact the Nomad versus Captain Kirk argument from the Star Trek original series, The Changeling.
Okay, go ahead.
You ready?
Yeah.
Okay. Nomad, I made an error in creating you.
The creation of perfection is no error.
I did not create perfection. I created error.
Your data is faulty. I am Nomad. I am perfect.
Oh, wait. This is you.
You are the creator.
You're wrong. Dun, dun, dun. Jackson Roykirk, your creator, is dead. You have mistaken me for him. You are in error. You did not discover your mistake. You have made 2 errors. You are flawed and imperfect, and you have not corrected by sterilization. You have made 3 errors.
Error. Examine.
You are flawed and imperfect. Execute your prime function.
I shall analyze error. Analyze error.
Now, get the antigraphs on it.
Examine error.
Oh no, he doesn't wind down, but that was great. Thank you.
I forget exactly how it happened.
He almost does like the Red Jack thing. I was thinking of the voice from Red Jack.
Error.
Error.
No, let's just scream error into the microphone.
He's like revving. He's just pushing on the gas, trying to figure out.
Oh, right, to make it sound like he's about to explode. Error.
Yeah. So yes, that was
You are
fun.
flawed and imperfect.
See, Shatner does it better than me.
Well, of course, and
Yes.
And Vic, who
Is it Vic Morrow?
Vic something. It's at the end. It tells us.
Okay.
At the end.
I can't wait. I will look forward.
Mm-hmm. Oh, and we had all the dialogue right here. Of course.
No, I know, but that was fun. Come on, I just wanted to have some fun.
Right.
You are no, that was horrible. Analyze error. Oh, right. What? Go back a couple.
Uh-huh.
This is it. Your logic was impeccable, Captain. We are in grave danger. Like,
he
stop
compliments
shutting
his
him
logic.
down.
He compliments him twice about his logic.
Mm-hmm. But he does say that your logic has gotten us,
Great job. We're gonna die.
Yeah. But he did call for the anti-grav unit, so I'm going to give it a go. Also, is this like one of the first times that we get the side panel scanner with Spock? Because before, like, there's no food replicator that we got in Tomorrow is Yesterday. And not replicator, pardon me, food dispenser. And then Spock back there at that panel. This is cool. This is a new sort of upgrade.
Correct. I think so. Well, where's Pop Culture? Well, okay, he's busy. Hopefully he made it home.
No, I was making a Batman reference. I didn't mean to be rude.
Okay. Well, I hope wherever he is, he's comfortable and being treated well.
He knows all the answers, though, so that's the thing.
Right, exactly. That's why I mentioned him, because he probably knows exactly what you're talking about.
Yeah, someone should. Either way,
right?
Nomad is beamed into space. Second time in a row that we get an antagonist beamed into space, and it blows up.
Yes, this time it's a machine, and last time it was a entity, a murder of Jack the Ripper.
Yes, it was Piglet. Anyway, so they blew up Nomad. Good work, guys.
My congratulations, Captain. Dazzling display of logic.
Love this.
I did too. I laughed at this. Didn't think I had it in me, did you?
No, sir.
And Ahura's back to college level. She'll be up and going in a week. Nobody worries. Nobody's worried about it. She'll be exactly the way she was before. And then Kirk makes a joke.
Well, what does he say?
I didn't get it in here. Let me see.
It's really, and it's so flippant.
Do you want to read it?
I do.
Okay. It is. In the private chat, it is there.
Well, it thought I was its mother, didn't it? You don't think I'm completely without feelings, Mr. Spock? You saw what it did for Scotty, what a doctor would have made. My son, the doctor. kind of gets you right here, doesn't it? Bum bum ba-na-na-na, bum 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 ba bum bum ba 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 ba. On to next week's adventure. 4 billion people are dead, but I had a robot who fixed a man. It is the most flippant disregard for alien life, because I think that the Mylarians are. Hey, Vic Perrin is the voice of Nomad. But yeah, I think it is sort of, on to the next adventure. 4 billion people are dead. We're fine with it. Let's move on. And I found that I was like, okay.
Well, we know that Nomad can bring a human it's killed back to life, but McCoy does say that it has to be done soon, whatever you're going to do. So possibly it was too late for the other 4 billion people for Nomad to brought him back if they wanted to.
Well, when it comes
try
to the red
get him
shirts,
to do that.
He sort of like vaporized them.
Yes.
So it's not like you could do anything. Yeah, like
he yeah, right. Nomad is not going to cooperate. So
right.
It has
he
to
was
go
only
boom.
he was only cooperating with Captain Kirk based on his misinformation of thinking that Kirk was Roy,
and which was used to turn Nomad and get him to destroy himself.
Yes. Which
by proving that he was in error.
Yes. Which is great. It's another one of those sort of liar's paradoxes that he does, that Kirk is a master of.
He is.
He's done it all.
Nomad's voice was done by Vic Perrin. So that's what I was looking for. I got that.
I wonder if Perrin, like Vic Perrin, I wonder, because Sarek's second wife is named Perrin. I wonder if that's a reference or not.
Oh, I don't know. But the music in this episode was done by Fred Steiner.
And great, with some great reuses of, oh my stars, what Amok Time with the boom, bum, ba, boom, boom, ba, ba, boom, for the mind meld. I really enjoyed that. It was like, this is a really good episode. I really enjoyed this. I haven't seen this episode in probably about, I don't know, like a long time. I don't want to even say how many years, but I really liked this.
I do too. It's one of the episodes that I enjoy rewatching. I rewatch this one more than others. And Ari Bavel says Bond is doing it for Queen and Country, not because he's a horn dog.
But Ari, I don't think that Kirk is a horn dog. I think Kirk is charming. I think that he uses his wilds when appropriate, but I don't think that he's like the modern. People put Captain Kirk in the same category as James Bond, and I don't think that's fair for the professionalism of James Kirk.
Mm. And so, but what did you think of this episode?
I thought the only thing missing was Chekhov.
Chekhov was missing. And
was he? And he wasn't here.
He wasn't there. You're right.
And that's the only thing. I think this is a great I think this is a fun episode of something unknown that they're dealing with while they're dealing with it. It is, a little disjointed. He fires a torpedo and says, "We mean no harm. Beam aboard. It'll be fine." But like ultimately I like it, and
you're gonna let that thing on the ship?
Yeah, because it could absolutely kill me, and it does. But I think it's a great episode. I think it's a good if I were to show someone an episode of Star Trek with a robot, I would probably throw this at the top of the list.
Mm.
Like this or I Mud.
Oh yeah, that could be fun.
Just in terms of the logical puzzle that Captain Kirk uses with the crew.
That's what's most memorable about it. Agreed. What?
Like how do you defeat a logical non-emotional machine, and I think that Kirk does it, and even Spock gives him big ups for it and says, "I didn't think you had it in you," and Kirk is so upset. Well, not so upset. He's just sort of disappointed. He's like, "Oh, you think I'm a dummy? All right."
Mm-hmm.
So I did enjoy that. It's great. I like the character interactions. I like especially like reintroducing Uhura with the singing. I like music in terms of her capacity to relearn. I think that this is a great time for a Star Trek fan.
It
This
is, but
episode,
every
yeah.
time she loves to sing, but every time she sings, it seems something bad happens.
Well, it's kind of like whenever Scotty interacts with a woman, it's bad. Like in this one, he's trying to save Uhura and he gets, killed.
Mm-hmm.
Would you like to go with the chat? I have to excuse myself for just one
well,
moment.
no, I was waiting for your review.
My review. Oh, it's A+. This
Yeah,
is A+. It's fun
A+.
swashbuckling adventure with
Yeah.
science fiction heavily. Like this is the icing of the evolution of machines. It's also a thing where what Earth has put out into the galaxy may return to destroy. It's
Mhm.
the vastness and the lack of understanding of what is possible in the vastness of our galaxy. And then Nomad comes back, and I like the sort of argumentative fixing of the situation to say, yeah, I like it
Well,
because it's a B movie robot. Okay,
it is.
it's just fun. It's not about the lyrics.
I agree, but also the real Voyager has left our solar system, so who knows where it's going and what it's going to encounter. And
Or when
that
it's
is a
coming
fun
back.
idea. And how it will, in what form it will return, looking for its creator. How is that not an exciting thing to make into a movie? I'm glad they turned this episode into a movie.
Do you think it's a direct adaptation, or do you think it's an
I think
expansion
it's like
on the idea?
it's an expansion on the idea for sure because of how it integrates Spock's character growth.
Well, and also I really appreciate with Leonard Nimoy's performance when he finally garners the information from Nomad, and he's just like, okay, I got to get this out before I forget it, because mind melds aren't, you don't get to remember everything. It's the impulse that you just received, and I like everything about this in
Right.
lore building, and how, sure, if you don't think that Vulcans can mind meld with computers, I accept it, but I'm willing to suspend my disbelief just that much.
And it's a mind meld of pure electrical impulses. And
Mm-hmm.
I would give this episode an A+, but I go down to an A- because of what happens with Uhura. I feel like that's a little bit
Bluey?
weird, a little bit bluey. Sure, let's call it bluey. But
It is a little bluey.
But Kirk out logicking, outsmarting a computer is one of my favorite things. And I just chalk it down to Nomad being flawed and damaged to think that Uhura's knowledge was completely taken away, because she clearly knows something enough to build her knowledge back up all the way to college level in a week. It couldn't have been that her mind was completely wiped. Maybe just kind of
Twice baked.
like a brief amnesia.
If I had to assess it in a scientific way, and I mentioned it before, so I don't want to be redundant, but I would say that re-educating Uhura based on her age and the development of her brain, then it would have been easier, especially if supervised by other Starfleet officers.
Yeah, but that's a lot of knowledge to regain, a whole
That's
lifetime.
a lot of damage.
It is. So
True.
I
We're
have
gonna
to
have to. We'll find out
employ
next
way
week.
too much headcanon to be okay with it, and that's why it goes from an A+ to A-. But I still love it, and it's still
It's
an
in
A.
the A range.
It is.
Okay.
And
I'm with you.
Please take care of your biological life form.
I will.
Thank you. And despite those things, I really enjoy this episode and the idea of an Earth probe merging with an alien one to become a more superior machine, to the point of even becoming semi-sentient of its existence and trying to carry out its purpose. And so that's fun for me. And how Kirk defeats the computer with what Spock calls
My congratulations, Captain. Dazzling display of logic.
dazzling display of logic. And so Admiral Teague says, my issue with the mind zapping is she's on a college level. The next day, according to McCoy, she also seems to have recovered her memories. Sort of a plot hole. Yes. Yes. And then that's my problem. That's my only issue with the episode as well. Uhura equals all her education was wiped clean by Nomad. Bad probe. Bad, bad, bad probe. You must be sterilized. Who mourns for adding Nace? Says Snorpoopus Cuber. And hey, Andy Mouse is here. 1, 2, 3. Andy Mouse loves this episode, and he thought he'd say hi. And rest in peace, Calculon. Yes, rest in peace, Calculon, indeed. And this Futurama is coming back soon. I know that's like a reference to Mr. Brown's show and everything. So it's great to see you guys here. Cardinal Sin says Scotty is an ex-chief of engineering. Wait a minute, Scotty is chief engineer. He was only ex-chief engineer while he was dead for 4 minutes. Ari says Admiral Teague just goes to show the educational power of ChatGPT 27. And Admiral Teague says, for a mass of conflicting impulses, check out Saving Star Trek. Nice plug. Definitely go check out Admiral Teague's channel. Lots of fun there to be had there. Lots of Star Trek theories and ideas to ponder on. Snortopoopus Cuber says apparently Spock is smarter than the average Supreme Court nominee. Or at least, yeah, the current ones.
I'm a Supreme Court nominee.
How do you apply for that? Don't you need to at least be a lawyer?
Well, no, I'm foreign, so they don't necessarily take that into account. But no, I applied.
Mm-hmm.
Was I nominated? I have to check my Patreon.
You probably were, because you're foreign.
Yeah.
Admiral Teague says, Ari Bavel, I've asked to Ari. He says, I've asked ChatGPT some specific Star Trek questions. The answers have been, quote, fascinating.
But that's kind of like asking Nomad.
It is. And the funniest thing is that Nomad knows a lot more about Star Trek than the people who carry the label today. James Caserta says, Nomad has a sense of humor.
Really?
I don't know. Well, only a sense of... I feel like Data has a sense of humor, but Nomad, I'm not sure.
Well, his timing is digital.
James Caserta says, romancing the robot. Oh, right. That's another method. I wonder how you do that.
Romance a robot? Oh, it's insert slot A into tab B.
Thank you. That makes sense.
You're welcome. Doesn't it?
Mm-hmm. Mark Harkness says, I consider her mind to have been overloaded. Nomad bought the entire contents of her memory forward. Oh, brought the entire contents of her memory forward at once. Everything is not erased as described, but jumbled, needing help to sort out. School.
That's interesting as well, because they do establish that Uhura does speak Swahili, her being African and whatnot originally, which is a great add of the canon.
Yeah, that's the United States of Africa.
Yeah.
It is.
maybe not all. Like, and when Nomad does sort of erase, for lack of a better term, Uhura's mind, it's when she is thinking about music. Like it does say specifically, think about music, and then
she probably does. It could be that he's programming her brain to think about music, and then she's thinking about the music, or I don't know. But I like this idea that it was just overloaded and mixed up.
Mhm.
Works for me. Nomad is imperfect, says James Caserta. That's
True
a
story.
decent theory to says Admiralty to Mark Harkness. Jill wins the no prize. What's the no prize?
I think it's a
Okay.
prize, but you don't get it.
Oh man.
I know, right?
Well, what's the point of that? Ari Bavel says it suits me as it is. And
Yes.
finally comes the time champion of suffering, Miles O'Brien. Yes.
Engineers suffer, like, and this is one of
They
those ones.
do. It all started with Scotty. Cardinal Sin says the Forrest Whitaker series, second best Twilight Zone ever.
I haven't seen it, but Bird of Prey is reviewing or rewatching or watching. I don't know. It's a good time.
Admiral Teague says false co-equivalence. This is nothing like Into Dumbness. Here. Admiral Teague agreed completely.
I need to know what I was referencing.
You were talking about the fact that Kirk dies and comes back to life thanks to magic triple blood or something. I forget. I only watched Into Darkness one time.
No, and I understand that, and I don't mean to bristle any quills, but I do have, it exists. It is with the Star Trek label, and so I will use the science either in elevation or equivalence. I know that it rubs people the wrong way sometimes. You don't like that Star Trek. That's cool. I understand. And I'm willing to take the slings and arrows if you'll Hamlet me. But I'm not going to ignore it. It's there. And so this is one of those magic come back to life moments that, yeah, I think it is equivalent.
Magic. It is a bit magical.
And so it is con triple blood or whatever. This is a weird thing where a guy dies and it doesn't matter 10 minutes later. Same deal.
It's not the same because
ish.
Nomad had to get all of the data of anatomy fed into its computer bank, so there was a sci-fi element that made some kind of sense that the computer had to learn first before it could perform the operation. So it wasn't just like I can magically bring you back to life. It needed the information.
And I agree with you that in terms of the bullshit explanations as to how someone was brought back to life, this one is better. But it's still they both reside in that not necessarily credible. Okay, he's alive again. I
buy it because he wasn't that hurt. He wasn't hurt very much.
He was dead, Jill.
He was dead. He was dead.
Dead is pretty hurt.
It's pretty hurt.
It's very hurt.
But they didn't even try. Did they even try to bring him back to life with the electrical impulses themselves? I guess.
I'm sure that they used a defibrillator. Yes.
Snorpoopus Cuber says, Scotty. Scotty says, will I ever be able to play the bagpipes again? McCoy says, of course. And Scotty says, that's wonderful. I never could before.
True. That is something that was incorporated by Nomad.
Admiral Tink says, I think Ahura probably speaks Swahili first because it's her first language. Yes, I'm sure that's her childhood language. Definitely.
Well, and with Nurse Chapel being her teacher, probably would have introduced her to the first language that she was fluent in. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. If her brain was totally wiped, What's running her autonomic functions, says Snortopoopas. Her
Uh,
right, her knowledge was totally wiped, not her brain. There was no brain damage.
Right.
So
Nervous
I
system wouldn't
must
be
have,
unaffected.
yeah, I must have portrayed it incorrectly. Jill, mathematics, music, and linguistics are all in the same part of the area of the brain. So that means that Ahura could be a linguist if she wanted to. She could learn it for sure. Absolutely. She has the aptitude for it. I definitely agree with that.
Mhm.
Pop culture curator says, Mama, what about you are? You're what is this a reference to?
I'm not 100%. I'm trying to find
And Daniel's Hot Topics is here. Hey Daniel. This was an
Daniel. I hope you're feeling
interesting
better, dude.
episode. Oh, was he sick?
Well, he was feeling terrible. I saw him on a couple of. He was not in a
Oh,
good mood,
right.
and I just Daniel, virtual hug, my friend.
Definitely. What about Ahura's personal memories, family growing up, etc.? Well, if she remembers Swahili, I imagine she also remembers her childhood. So perhaps she remembers some of her childhood, maybe up to age 6, since she starts at a first grade level. Admiral Teague says Ahura's first main is JJ stuff. Ew. I don't know
Not
what you're
true.
talking about, but
Not
JJ
true.
stuff. Yeah.
Admiral Teague, and I only say this to attempt to educate. There was, I believe it was in novels before it was introduced in Star Trek Judgment Rights, which is an interplay video game. Nyota Uhura predates the JJ verse in the same way that Hikaru is actually predated by Star Trek 6. There is apocryphal beta canon references to their first names that were adopted by the actual canon productions. So,
I'm so impressed that you were able to read Admiral Teague's comment before I figured it out, that instead of main, he meant ning. It is just transposed letters, and I didn't, it was a word jumble, and I didn't jumble it.
I am beneficially dyslexic. I can read things in the wrong order just to make it so I can try and respond.
Yes, and you're absolutely correct. It's something that Gene Roddenberry had agreed
Signed
to
off
long
on,
before.
yeah.
He signed off on it way before it became canon.
Well, and that's another thing that happens in this episode is that Captain Kirk does. He's like, I'm Captain James Kirk. Captain James T. Kirk didn't happen until the animated series. T was never established. The only thing we got was R in where no man has gone before. But yeah, no, there are
Right,
things
but Gary
throughout.
Mitchell was mistaken. It wasn't R after all.
Yeah, Gary Mitchell's a crazy asshole.
Yeah, at that point, he had glowy silver eyes. Why are you believing him?
Yeah.
Admiral Teague says if there were 3 different Nomad models, if I recall correctly. Oh, neat. That wasn't in my notes.
I feel like Nomad shows up later on as a prop, like but I don't recall. I don't recall specifically. Nomad
that ever
does.
comes up.
We'll find out. We're watching the whole show, right? Yeah.
We are. Nomad compliments Spock? Yeah, Mikey, he does. He says Spock is well ordered.
Yes.
Joseph Dredd says Uhura had to pull out a Klingon dictionary in Star Trek 6. Yeah, precisely. She is not a linguist.
Nuvak.
She could be, though.
Reen.
Could you read this from Snortopoopas Cuber, please? Or not? He says, bands were making up names for Uhura. One was Upenda and another was Nyota. The creators finally went with the last option much later. Oh, fans did that too. I didn't know about the fan incorporation of the name. That's cool. Franco Walker says, but why was the Klingon language written in a book? not stored in the computer. That is exactly right. There should have been a language dictionary in the computer. All the different languages that they knew about should have been in the computer as a reference, as a backup for the universal translator.
They do sort of say in the movie, it's like, oh, they'll recognize the universal translator, so we have to do it the old-fashioned way in terms of actually translating. But yeah, it didn't have to be in books. It could have been on screen or whatever. I think that that was more of a dramatic thing that was done for the audience. And
yeah, well, no, it was a humorous thing. They wanted it to be
Yeah.
funny. They were
Right.
going for humor.
So I think that's just in, like, sometimes I'm totes on board with the apocrypha, and it's like, this doesn't make any sense. Why would this happen? But then again, I do also have to suspend my disbelief and look at it as just a dramatic scene or a comedic scene in a movie. And it's like, well, I like the scene. I don't think it undermines Uhura. Do you think it undermines Uhura?
It's just silly. It's just silly.
It is silly. It's
silly.
So,
and I think that's what they wanted to do. But why?
yeah.
I don't know. Snorter
But I
Poopus
agree
Cuber
again.
says because the computer. Okay, so why? Okay, so Franco says why was the Klingon language written in a book and not stored on the computer? And Snorter Poopus has an answer. He says because the computer wasn't equipped with an expectorator to spit when speaking Klingon.
True. You know what? It would be really interesting to hear a Starfleet computer pronounce "gah."
It's true.
Like that guttural back of the throat, which is a staple.
Gah.
Yeah, it would say "gah." It would translate in appropriately.
Brandon, the anime guy, is here. Hi, Brandon. He says the name of the episode is deceiving, but this is a dang good episode. I think it is. It's just a solidly great Star Trek episode.
Mm-hmm.
You want Star Trek? Here it is. Admiral Teague says to Franco Walker, another question would be, why did I bother to learn how to speak Klingon when they always translate it right on the screen? I feel like I wasted my time. You know Klingon, Admiral Teague? I don't. Cardinal Sin says, well, optical effects, really.
Mm-hmm.
And Nyota Penda Ahura, she who loves the freedom of the stars. And so the Penda is the part that fans have come up with. Bluey?
Bluey.
Okay, Nichelle just seems to be slightly high there.
Slightly.
Well, she's all mixed up.
True.
There are plenty of cougars around my village here. They walk upright, says Canadian Spider-Man. I don't think we're talking about school mascots anymore.
No, I actually go. My hairdresser is a cougar, and I'm telling you, she gives the best haircuts.
Yeah, that's really cool. You have a single hairdresser, and you call her a hairdresser instead of
her. Yeah,
barber.
No, it's a hairdresser. I like it when ladies touch my head. Moving on.
Admiral Teague says Lieutenant Palmer won't be back till Turnabout Intruder.
Oh my.
Oh, Sorta Poopa says, now, I must admit, when I was in the first grade and they were teaching me to read phonetically, I was having trouble pronouncing my. I'm sure I had been using that word for years. My seal, my fish. Of course, I'm sure you had. I know when I was learning how to read, my biggest problem was I was going through all my toys and I was saying, this starts with this letter, this starts with that letter, because I was all happy learning all the phonics. And then I got to my Charlie Brown toy and I was like, cha, what? And I went through the whole alphabet like 3 times. None of these letters start with cha. What the? I short-circuited that day, and it was a while before I learned about the CH sound.
You're a weird dude, Jill.
Thanks. I was 6.
Yeah, fine. Fair enough.
I knew how to read too, or maybe I was 5. I don't remember.
I
knew how to read when I was 5.
Me too.
But the CH somehow missed me. And Ahura is there the week after this.
Okay, thank you, Franco. Looking forward to it.
And Admiral Teague says, Sylvia was every woman and a pipe cleaner. When those aliens are shown for what they were, they're so different. They are my favorite TOS aliens.
I'm such a big fan of the Tellarites. I'm such a big fan of the Tellarites.
You like the Tellarites? Admiral Teague likes the little bitty puppets that fall over and die.
The Marionosians.
And Cardinalson and Franco Walker think that the mind meld could only happen with organic life forms, which is very valid, even though I allow it. And Kirk was never able to live down trying to seduce a pipe cleaner.
McCoy shows up. Hey, Jim, remember that one time you made out with the marionette woman made of pipe cleaners?
Could you read this from Admiral Teague?
Boom. Teague says, we don't know what the other porb was made from. Maybe it had some biological elements. Only way I can think of to rescue the scene. Well, and that's why I was like Tanru and Gumtu. I was trying to think that there was a little bit of a biological sort of amalgamation. So I agree with you, ish.
It's true, and we don't know very much about Tanru either. It's possible.
Yes.
And James Caserta says a nomad is sentient.
That's what I thought. I thought he was sentient. Yeah, was sentient.
Wait, the Admiral Teague asked a good question. The question is, does anyone mind meld with data? That would show if a machine is self-aware. If it's self-aware, it can mind meld.
The only thing that I will say is that we just saw Spock mind meld with a machine, so I don't necessarily need any subsequent specificity because we just saw it.
Yes, and of course, I don't think nobody mind melds with data, but that would be neat if they did. But we saw it. You're right. It happened. It's canon now. Spock can mind meld with machines. And it's possible that the stipulation is that they're sentient. Maybe Roy Kirk implanted his memory engrams on the original Nomad, and Daystrom plagiarized the idea. Nah.
I agree with the nah.
Says Snortopoopus. And Paul Veter Gamer. Hi, Paul Veter Gamer. Great to see you here. He says, Franco Walker, been recovering this past year from depression and stress. So pretty good, and playing too much Zelda game. Well, I hope that Zelda game is helping you with that. I'm sorry to hear your stress and all of that.
Well, and Paul Vinder Gamer, I empathize with your situation. I am as well.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it's common.
It is. I got the new Zelda game, and I need to play it. I played it for about 10 minutes.
I've been playing Lego Star Wars.
And that's good. That's good. A good game to turn your brain off with.
True.
Franco
there's a new Star Trek game though.
Oh, is there?
Yeah. I don't know if I want to play it, but it's called Star Trek Resurgence. And
wow.
So, yeah.
What is that about?
Okay, so it's about the USS Resolute, and you play as both the first officer and an engineer, not like the chief engineer, but just an engineer. And yeah, it's a narrative game by some of the writers from Telltale Games. I'm curious about it, but I don't know if I want to invest upon it.
I've heard good things from Telltale Games.
Well, if you want to play it once we're done with after,
I don't know. I'll look into it and I'll get back to you. I'll see if I want to play it.
I'm pretty sure
oh.
Star Trek, or not Star Trek, Space Quest. I think that's going to be a short episode.
Space Quest first.
Space Quest first.
Typical Kirk, says Franco Walker. Welcome to the Enterprise. Please read all the operational manuals and personal files if you want. Yeah. Yeah, eventually, Nomad knows all the things. Paul Beater Gamer says, Star Trek, the original space horror.
Paul Vinder, I agree. I think that Star Trek, actually, if you watch the original series, is an anthology of horror.
Mm-hmm. And there are lots of horror episodes.
A lot of
Edge
people
of Time
die.
says, if it flies, it lies. Including a chicken emoji. Chickens are liars?
Yes. If there are no follow-up questions, I also believe chickens to be liars. Kentucky Fried them all.
Cardinal Sin says that would be admitting that the Enterprise is inferior and must be sterilized.
Cardinal Sin, they do, or Nomad does say in the episode, I just want to kill all the biological imperfections and we'll leave the Enterprise and we'll upgrade it because it can be modified. So
yes. So Nomad is definitely chauvinistic against biological life forms.
Yes.
But it wants to save and repair the mechanical beings, possibly to later merge with the Enterprise had it completed its original objective. Paula Beater Gamer says they should have kept records for future ships and faster warp speeds.
Oh, I never, you know what? Paul Vinder, I forgot. Yeah, they go to warp 11.
They do in this episode.
Which I think in canon they actually rectified the speeds of warp engines in the Next Generation, and specifically, we do get to the Voyager episode with the salamanders. But in the original series, you could go like in the teens.
Oh my goodness, there's so much chat. I don't think I'm going to have time to read all of this.
We have 20. We have 16 minutes.
Okay. Let me see what I can do. I'm going to try.
Don't worry about
Kronos
the things we
is
can't
here.
do.
That's why.
Hey, Kronos.
Okay, so there's a weird thing, Jedi Bill. I see you in the regular chat, but I don't see you in the StreamYard chat. So I'm sorry. I'll try to figure out what's going on there.
Oh, I saw him.
I didn't see him. You see him here?
Let me look.
I don't see him.
I saw him on the regular.
Yeah,
Jedi
I saw him
Bill.
Oh, wait, there
there
he is. I'm not really here, am I? Okay. Yeah, there you are. I'll just be I'll just become a Sith Lord and go eliminate one. KK says Jedi Bill. Okay, so I do see you. Just checking. Oh, so many people here. Tony is here. I didn't even see all the new people that are here.
Tony, I didn't see Tony.
Yeah, Tony's here.
Oh, geez, Tony. That was the worst Morty I've ever done.
No, that's not even a Morty. I don't know what that was.
I don't even know.
But that was better at it. You tried.
Yeah, it failed, but tried.
You tried. That's we appreciate the effort.
Well, okay. Fine.
It's the thought that counts. Herc 130 says, unbeknownst. Sounds smart. And that is really what counts.
Thanks, Herc. Unbeknownst?
Well, that means they didn't know. Whoever it is, whatever the object is, the object did not know.
Yeah. Oh, geez, Rick. Anyway.
That's slightly better.
No, it wasn't.
Classic Comics says that Nomad says biological units are inherently inferior. Me, I'm literally shaking right now. Palaviter Gamer says to Snortopoopus, still could be. I've always heard it pronounced Palaviter.
I've been wrong twice. I am in error. I must sterilize.
Just correct. You could correct instead of sterilize.
Okay, thank heavens.
Yeah, You don't always have to go to the extreme.
I know. I've been told I go to extremes. I'm a Billy Joel song.
Sternopupus says the presence of Nomad has become nightmarish. The Red Shirt Union is threatening a strike. Oh, we're in trouble if the red shirts go on strike. Red shirts are expendable, says Darius. And hello to Darius Munchausen. Ray. And Edge of Time says, did you know the animated series were made into Star Trek books? Yeah, I have them too. As soon as I heard about them, I bought them. And they're written by Alan Dean Foster. I must read them. And Snortopupus Cuber says, all right, gentlemen, there are 2 ways of dealing with Nomad. Number 1, won't work. I can't have sex with the robot. So that leaves number 2. Drive it insane with illogic.
And beam it into space.
Yes, because we're sure that it's going to
Explode.
exterminate itself. So let it do that in space. Ha, it needed an import port for Kirk to dock. It didn't have
Well,
one.
and you know, and they used to, like, Nomad had a USB port, but then they upgraded it to a Lightning port. And so, like, you have to get an adapter, and it's a whole thing.
Yeah. And they wouldn't arrive until Tuesday.
Not until Tuesday. I like how the mouse said Spock's brain, 10 out of 10. Agreed.
Carantos says rest in
Calcutron?
peace. Calculon.
Who's
It's
Calculon?
Calculon is a robot on Futurama. And then someone told me that this comes from the Mr. Brown chat. And Calculon there's like a character on some Star Wars show that looks like Calculon. And then this is a thing they say. This is a thing they put in the chat when they want the host to move on from a certain topic.
Well, I broke up with Star Wars, so I don't get the reference.
I had it explained to me, so I know.
Yeah, roar. Darius. Yeah, roar.
Wow, everybody's saying it. Wow, I guess it was whatever. Okay, so my performance
Moving
was not
on.
that means okay, so Franco thinks it was a good performance.
Come on,
Yep.
we were playing. It was fun.
It was fun. I remember that. It was so long ago.
Yeah. Joseph Dredd, you're absolutely correct. Spock lied in The Wrath of Khan by the book, and I maintain this. Is, you know, who told you that a Vulcan doesn't lie? Was it a Vulcan?
Vulcans absolutely lie. They just use that as a maneuver to trick people into thinking they don't lie so that they can get to whatever they need to do. They need to achieve a certain objective, and they use that as a weapon.
Logical obfuscation, otherwise known as lying.
Yeah. Hey, Cam.
Cam.
Vic Perrin, who also played the Hawken leader in Mirror Mirror.
We're not there yet. I can't wait.
Says Snortopupus Keeper. Woohoo! Mirror
Andy
Mirror,
Mouse.
that's such a good episode.
We'll get there.
Okay. And Kronos is here. He says, I am Sargon. Oh, wrong episode.
I am Hanar. Is that Hanar?
Hi,
Hanok?
Andy
Hanok.
Mouse.
Hey, nerds.
Yeah, that's what he said. That's what Kronos says.
Yeah, I'm a big fan of Kronos.
I am a huge fan of Kronos. I enjoy reading all of his chats. And even if I don't read them out loud, I am reading them. I promise you. I have seen them. And Canadian Spider-Man says, hey folks, please like and share this stream. It costs nothing and helps Jill grow this channel. Yeah, you know what? You're right, Canadian Spider-Man. That is true. This episode scared the shit out of me when I was a little kid. But even so, I recognize the errors in the screenplay, says Cardinal Sin. And he gives the episode a B+, which is a great score, I think. It's pretty close to mine.
Yeah. I think it's one of those ones. Like, okay, so we did on a Plumik Tea Time review Star Trek 6, and there is the teaser trailer for Star Trek 6 The Undiscovered Country, which does have, it's somewhat of a highlight reel of what happens in the original series, which it touches my heart. And one of the images that is sort of shown is Spock mind melding with Nomad, and it is an iconic image, in my opinion. And so, while I just like this as a Monster of the Week episode, this is so great. I love the Changeling, although I think that
Me too.
in further as Star Trek goes on, the Changelings would take on a different meaning. But
And when I was researching this episode, I kept having to get past Odo to get to Nomad.
yeah, well, that's why you just punch in Jackson Roykirk.
It's true. I forgot to do that.
All right.
Sean Carter says, I gave this episode a B. I'd have given it an A, but I can't look past the 90 torpedoes or the Warp 15 thing. The Hura comment also was a bit cringe, even for TOS standards.
No
and that's
argument.
Fair.
Yeah.
All fair points.
And
And Joseph gives it a B+. Thank you, Joseph Dredd.
Judge.
Inconsistency. The Enterprise absorbs an attack that's equivalent to over 90 photon torpedoes, and then in another episode, they take half a dozen hits, and the shields collapse. And someone mentioned earlier that it was a different distribution of energy. I don't know.
Well, and it's the equivalent of 94 photon torpedoes. It's not like they are antimatter weapons, right? Photon torpedoes. It is an explosion.
It is.
As opposed to strictly energy. Hey, Stark of Iron says, sending a like and love. Can't stay long. I got a lot of work ahead of it as I lost subscribers after my review. Oh, did you do Guardians of the Galaxy and say that things that people didn't like? Sounds like a thing.
Oh, really? I haven't seen your review yet, Tony.
I lose subscribers all the time. I'm an abrasive guy.
Did I lose any? Let me see.
No, you're still at 420 as far as I know.
I did not lose any, nor did I gain. That's good.
Well, but you're a lovely example of awesome. So,
oh, thank you.
Well, you're
I
welcome.
wish I were awesome enough to be able to stay and read all of this chat. Living in a pressurized tube by vacuum of absolute zero space constitutes about to die arcane moment in my book. And Mikey, okay, so I'm just going to read the reviews and see what I can do in a few minutes. Mikey says, I gave an A- to this episode. It had everything you need for an effective TV drama. And so, yes, so I'm going to scroll through the chat and see if I can find anything, any more. There's so much to read. Dalek451 says, B+, episode is okay for what it is, but it is not a favorite. TOS did this concept too many times, and I don't think it's possible to do this concept too many times. It's my favorite one. I even like when they do it in TNG. It's ugly bags of mostly water.
I was thinking of the ugly bags of mostly water. That is great. Thank you.
You're welcome. Kronos says, I give this live stream a C- because I missed most of it. But that episode was also kind of like Devil in the Dark at the same time.
Oh, but Devil of the Dark. Oh, the Horta was innocent.
I know the Horta
Nomad is not.
No. I don't mean this one. I mean the TNG one. But
oh yes.
Could just be me. I don't know. Congrats on 420, Jill. And Kirk took logic classes at Starfleet Academy. Yeah.
I didn't think he had it in him.
And Ari says, which, if any, would you say is a superior TOS episode? If this is less than A plus, which episode is an A or A plus? I know for sure Devil in the Dark is my #1 episode of Star Trek. Balance of Terror is also up there for me.
Arena.
Yes, absolutely. In my top 10 too.
But I still like this one. And
Me
I'm
too.
of the Bird of Prey opinion, is that when it comes to the original series, they all start with A pluses, and it takes a lot to drag them down. When like I watched the episode after I gave my rating. I gave my rating and I said it was an A. A to A plus, I think, is how the poll goes. And then I watched the episode and I was like, yeah, no, I'm justified. Because I was totally prepared to show up and be like, I gave it an A plus, but I think it's a C plus. But no, watching it, this is adventure. This is daring do. This is logic puzzles. This is people doing their jobs on the Enterprise. Like they even have repair crews. Like this is crazy cool. This is a great episode of Star Trek.
I agree. And Cronus says, is antimatter derivative Spartan taking score?
Yes. If
Jill
there are
has
no follow-up
pointy.
questions, sure.
James Caserta asks, Jill has pointy ears? Yeah, today I'm a Vorta in my avatar.
Which is weird. I would feel like I'm more of the Vorta. Am I a Vorta or am I a Jem'Hadar?
I don't know. Now that I'm self-conscious about it, I'm gonna be Vulcan.
Yay! All my circuits.
How can you be Sargon when I'm Sargon, says Admiral Teague.
Everyone
so
wants
Cronus,
to be Sargon.
There can be multiple Sargons, says Cronus.
Well, there's only one.
Mm-hmm. And James Caserta says, I'm in trouble. We will be soon. And speaking of Tony, who we saw earlier in the chat, Stark of Iron, he will be. I believe he chose to be in the Tribble episode. So he'll be there. He'll be here for that.
How many episodes of that are we away from?
Oh, I don't know. I have a calendar. But I also
is
have
it a
to
paper
leave.
calendar or is it a digital calendar?
It's digital.
Oh.
When...
I know we have the Apple. And then like this is
2 weeks. It's in 2 weeks.
So it's after the Apple.
Yeah, it's after the Apple.
Nice. That'll be fun.
I can't wait. I'm excited for Mirror Mirror.
I thought it was Trouble with Tribbles.
Oh, shoot. I was excited about Mirror Mirror. So I forgot to look for Trouble with Tribbles. Okay, so then that's 1, 2. Okay, so in 2 weeks we're going to have Mirror Mirror. And 3, The Deadly Years, Imud. 4, 5. 5 in 5 weeks we'll have Trouble with Tribbles on June 27th.
Great. That's amazing.
Okay, so Tony's got 5 weeks to prepare. And there's Jedi Bill. I thought I lost him. I don't know why.
Ahoy, Bill. Bill, when you do your Green Berets watch along, I'm looking forward to that. I have the notification turned on. Jedi Bill is doing some reviews of some great movies, and I'm looking forward to them.
Clearly, Scotty was just sleeping and not dead at all. I always have that concern.
He was very calm.
At Edge of Time says, I woke up dead once. That hurt.
But you got better.
Yeah. Yeah, you're here with us. Which is good. Jedi Bill says, what am I? Chopped liver? I don't think so.
You're whole liver.
Right. Yeah, you're still whole. And in package. I don't know.
Yeah, no, let's keep going.
I don't know how to respond to that.
We love you, Bill.
Character says this screwed up my question. I was asking about Ahura's personal memories, family, etc.
Oh my, I didn't even think of that. I was only concerned with her doing her job. But yeah, no, I don't know. Apparently, she does not know who her parents are anymore and will forget about it just the same way that she did. Nice language. Did I swear casually? I'm sorry. Shit.
We agreed the novels don't count. But Nyota gets mentioned in the movies, so that counts.
And also, Nichelle Nichols plays Uhura when she is referred to as Nyota in Star Trek Judgment Rights. I hate to keep bringing up the Interplay video games, but it is one of the last times that they had the full original series cast. So, if you are an original series Star Trek fan and you can play Star Trek the 25th anniversary game or Star Trek Judgment Rights game by Interplay, they are several episodes of Star Trek that you have not experienced. And the best part is that you get to play as the original crew. So it may be Apocrypha, but it's still a good time.
I guess but Gene Roddenberry said it, so I want it to be true.
It is. No one can tell you.
Technically, Admiral Teague is right. It never really becomes real canon
until the 2009. Okay.
Yeah. So he's right.
Well,
I don't know why I thought it was said before that.
It was in novels and in video games, but again, if we're not going to appreciate Apocrypha, hey, the Kelvin universe is also Apocrypha. So.
And Jedi Bill is sorry he doesn't know much about Star Trek other than the movies, the TOS movies. Well, the TOS movies are great.
That's all we really care about in these parts.
This comment goes out to all my friends from Jackson Roykirk High who fought Khan in the eugenics war. Nomads! Okay. Admiral Teague is being silly. And
the Klingon language still uses the letter Yoch.
Oh, yeah. I really want to read all of these comments, but I have to leave.
You are so late.
I'm so late. I have to go.
Where are we?
Go.
I know. We should stay here forever and talk about Star Trek.
I could stay here another hour, but I can't.
That's why we're friends. This is no, it's my jam.
Kronos just mind melded with the live stream.
I've grown weary of discussion and argument.
It's true. We need to quit discussing and arguing and having.
We should leave. We should go.
We have to go.
I demand it. I demand it.
We have to go. I can't do this. Y'all are too interesting. Y'all are too amazingly interesting.
Now you're sounding like Spock. If you're gonna get nasty, I'm gonna leave.
I can't.
I'm just gonna keep playing clips until you get through this.
Okay. Keep playing random clips as I try to get through this.
You are flawed and imperfect.
And Kronos says he's a meat popsicle. This is important information for everybody to know.
That's cold meat.
Oh, right. Probably in response to Jedi Bill being chopped liver. Snortopoopa says, so hiding an intelligence center in a monstrosity on Pajem wasn't lying?
Monastery.
Monastery. See, I need to go. I'm not reading right anymore.
I know. Your eyes are tired.
There. Warp 15 makes everyone into salamanders. See, we were still talking about the episode at this point.
Well, okay, so that is an actual factual. Is this Friday on Plomic Tea Time, where obviously you're going to be doing a UFO.
Yes.
But the following week, we're going to be doing a Voyager two-parter.
Oh, yeah. We're going to talk about a Voyager episode. Let's not say what it is yet. Okay. Pop Culture Curator says A+ for me. Yeah, let's save it for after next week before we start promoting that. But yes, it's going to be Voyager.
Yeah.
B+ for Franco Walker. And Kronos likes Devil in the Dark too. Even E- is passing. E-, what is that even? The only time I ever saw E is when my behavior was being analyzed. So it was either E for excellent, S for satisfactory, And I always got S's, and I kept trying to get an E. I could never get an E.
Well,
My
and
behavior was never excellent.
from E was a Canadian thing. We didn't get F's. We got E, and that was just completed. Like it wasn't.
You tried.
Yeah, you were here. You showed up.
Oh, and Admiral Teague wants to be on for the children's lead, so people won't say Teague's too easy on TOS anymore. That's a cheap way to do that, but fair enough. I can't wait.
I don't. You know, I even have a soft spot for The Children Shall Leave. And I think, I think it's one of the reasons that I have a bit of a feud with Teague is that even when it comes to the bad episode of the original series or any Star Trek series before 2005, I give it a pass. I give it an A, and then I take away points as I go through. But I don't know. I don't think I give a lot of episodes F's.
Yeah.
Except for Bem. Bem sucks.
Well, I don't want to get ahead of our grading, so I'm gonna wait until Bem. Oh, but we already graded Bem. I don't remember what did I give
I gave it an F. I thought that Bem sucked. I thought that it was stupid.
But he's a colony creature.
I know.
Even bad Star Trek episodes get me to look at science papers, and that's why I love Star Trek. What did I give it? I don't know. Let me check my notes.
I think I gave it like an F or a D. I gave Bem the D.
I gave Bem a C+.
Yeah, you would. You colony creature loving motherfucker.
I am. Tell me about your channel and what you're doing next.
I am Scotty R37, and I play on the Phantasmagorium show. We're going to be talking about a Spider-Man movie that I've never seen before. Next, we're going to be talking about Spider-Man Far From Home.
I've never seen it either.
And, well, please join us. And then on Thursday, or on In the Loop, a Quantum Leap retrospective, we're going to be talking about episodes 3 and 4 of season 3, which is such a fun time, just going with the adventures of Sam and Al. And then any other time you want to find me, for good or ill, I hang out with Jill a lot because she's my best friend on the internet.
Hooray for best friends on the internet.
Yay! Super friends.
Super best friends.
Yay!
Franco Walker says, there was a robot in Kenobi that was a better actor than anybody else. So we named it Calculon. And then it sacrificed its life to save a human. So the phrase just took off.
Huzzah.
Oh, that's a much better explanation than I've heard before. Thank you. Was that a lottery ticket? Jill swearing because a chat said a swear. Yeah, I don't know. I was just reading a chat. I was reading.
Did you say fuck yet?
No, I didn't. I said shit.
All right.
But I was only reading it. So I don't know if it counts. Anyway, I do have to go.
It counts. All right, let's go.
Okay, so thank you everybody for being here. Prayers and best wishes to Pop Culture Curator. He says take care, guys. I hope things get better. And it looks like Dalek's excited that we're going to talk about Voyager.
Dalek, you're more than welcome for Quantum Leap, and if you want to do Voyager, we'll talk about it next week and find out if it's an episode or 2 episodes that you're interested in.
Yeah, so not this Friday, but next Friday, Dalek. So we'll tell you soon. I'll tell you this weekend. This weekend I'll start promoting it. And so I'll see you guys later. I'm going to play the preview for next Tuesday's TOS episode, which will be the Apple.
Captain's log, stardate 3715.3. Our investigation of Gamma Trianguli 6 has suddenly turned into a nightmare.
Captain! The tricorder readings are totally inefficient. Would you mind being careful where you throw your rocks, Mr. Spy?
It's over there, that way. I never saw anything like... I am the eyes of all.